Welcome to Poul's Kitchen. Today we're going to be doing some black pepper steak sauce steak. We've got a beautiful meal here, so please hit the like, share, subscribe button, and stay tuned for more amazing, beautiful dish. Kitchen. This is Chef Paul, and today we're going to be doing a beautiful dish based on beef stir fry, sesame beef stir fry, if you will. It's going to be an amazing dish, so hit like, share, subscribe, join us on www.pouls-kitchen.club, and that's POULS-kitchen.club. And so let's begin. So the first part is we need to marinate and tenderize our meat a little bit. So we got some beef strips, beautiful looking strips, really is. So I'm going to put probably a cup of water. I'm going to put this in here. And then I'm going to take, where the heck is that? Right here. We're going to take a couple of spoonfuls of baking powder, or baking soda I should say. And what this basically does, it helps to tenderize the beef. So it makes it a little bit more tender, helps working on it. So it's going to basically going to sit here for about 20-30 minutes. You don't really need to do anything more than that. And you're just going to add this in with the marinade. Makes it a little bit more, I don't know why, but making magic baking powder I should say, but don't ask me to explain how things work with it. I don't know. So what else am I going to put in here? Nothing right now. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to put our beef strips in here. And we're just going to let this sit here for a good 20 minutes, 20-30 minutes, don't need much more than that. Then we're going to drain the solution out of here. And then we're going to go on to marinade. So while this is sitting here marinating, make sure you separate your strips and all. While this is sitting here marinating, you want to cut up your vegetables. So we're going to use some onions, some ginger, some garlic, some peppers, and so it's going to take you a little bit of time to get all that done here. And once I set this here for about 15-20 minutes, I'm going to take this out, and then I'm going to put another marinated in. We're going to let that sit for another 10-15 minutes or so. So we're just going to set this in here, make sure it's all covered, and we'll be back in about 30. Welcome back. So our meat has been tenderized. So now we're going to rinse this out here. And I'm just going to clean this out here because it doesn't really need to be spotless. It's not like we're dealing with cooked meat yet. You're going to love this sauce that we're going to stick on this. This is going to be really, really good. And by the way, I've got my beautiful wife Amy right behind you doing the film. Say hi, Amy.
Hi.
We're going to use some rice vinegar. It's going to add a little bit more tenderizer to it. Can't hurt with that. We're going to use some pure sesame seed oil. Don't need a whole lot with this either. But we're going to let this marinate for probably about 15 minutes. We don't need to go crazy with this. If you want to do it overnight, you can do that. And this is what we call premium dark soy sauce. Now, don't ask me what the big difference is. I don't know. And we're soy sauce, and it has an extremely high sodium content, 35%, which, believe it or not, is not really that high comparatively to what a lot of others are. Amy's complaining about spraying, and it's not even 10 o'clock yet. I'll let you determine what that means later.
The soy sauce sprayed me.
So we're going to mix that really good here. Don't go ape shit crazy. This is not going to be the start of the show. But we're going to let this sit here for about 15, 20 minutes. You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't even give this more than an hour. If that's what you want to do. We might wait an hour. Get everything all prepped and good. What do you think, Amy?
No.
Why not?
Because I want to eat.
She always thinks with her stomach. See, she ain't even saying anything to disagree. Alright, so we're going to let that sit in here. That's going to sit for 10-15 minutes. 15 minutes more likely. No more than an hour. And we're going to be back after this, and we'll be ready to start everything else. Welcome back. So we've been waiting for about 30 minutes or so for this meat to tenderize and marinate. So I've got the oven here, and I'm going to start turning this on, and I'm going to turn this on to high. We've got some butter in here just to make sure that our butter doesn't go ape crazy and start to burn or anything. We're going to drizzle some oil in here. I'm also going to put some oil in here. This pot I'm not going to, because this is where the meat's going to go when it's done. So now that I've got the oven going here, we got this drizzling. I'm going to cut this because it will help it. It will help it to start to, melt down quicker. So butter is a very, very important part of cooking steak. Even though it's the strips, yes, it is a cheaper form of meat, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we still want to treat it appropriately so that we're going to get full flavor on this. So you ask, what exactly are we going to be doing? We're going to make a beautiful pepper sauce. This is going to taste really good. It's going to take a little bit of time. So we're going to get this down here, and it's going to melt down really, really good. Then when this is done, we're going to take this out. And actually, this is no, so we want this one here.
No.
Yeah, this is back.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Of course I'm right. I'm always right. So we're going to cook this in here. And now we need to find another container that I can use. And I'll use this for the veggies. Now when it comes to oil, I always recommend extra virgin olive oil or even coconut oil. That's also a really good selection too. See, but we're going to use oil, we're going to use butter on this. This is just pure oil. Doesn't really matter per se. You can spend a lot of money on oil. You can spend just an astronomical amount of money, and to be honest with you, I kind of feel like you're wasting your money. I really, really do. Don't do it, guys. Really don't. It's a trap. They want you to spend all your money on them, and it just you'll come out poor every single time. It's not worth it. Now, when you're putting this in here, go nice and slow, because it's going to start spilling up. It's not going to take a whole long time to actually cook it. It's going to be really, really quick. So I just put something out here, but Amy's trying to drink it on me. Oh, here we go.
No.
Bert, Michelle, if you're watching this, your daughter's coming quite the drinker.
No.
Now, when you're cooking with this alcohol, what's going to happen to the alcohol, Amy?
It's going to evaporate.
And what are you going to have?
Flavorful.
What aren't you going to have?
You're not going to be drunk.
That's right. So when you're cooking with alcohol, it does not at all, believe it or not, it does not actually give you any at all. It does not give you any actual alcohol left in there, so you cannot get drunk. So I could totally load a whole thing of rum and just marinate that in holy rum. Could do that. It'd be a waste of money, but you could do it. You're absolutely not going to, and that was garlic, and this is going to be, this is going to be ginger. So you can load it. You're going to waste your money. You don't need to. Save your money. Alright, so that's starting to go here, and the only two things we actually have to worry about is our peppers and our oriental vegetable mix. I'm going to put some smoked paprika. I'm going to put some red chili flakes. I'm going to save this because we're going to use this a little bit later. And some smoky tea ackee rub. And last but not least, Montreal steak spice. Really good spice. You're going to cook with anything to do with steak, you need to have that. So we're going to cook this down here. Now, if you're doing a steak, you might do it a little bit differently. I mean, you don't want to overcook it, so, be very generally careful of that, because it does overcook pretty easy. It doesn't take too long. All right, now. And like I said, this is not going to take a whole long time. This is actually going to be pretty quick. The last part, making the sauce, is going to be the longest. Because believe me, this type of steak does not really take that long to cook. And we got all the time in the world to cook this, don't we?
No.
I think Amy's a little anxious.
We're both hungry.
Amy's really hungry tonight and she just wants to eat.
He's hungry too.
But you know what Amy is? She's Dutch and she's only happy when she has something in her mouth. She likes to eat. Actually, there's one thing I forgot to get out, and that is the flour. Where is the flour, Amy?
I can get it.
Please. Yeah, that. Just put it somewhere for now. Alright, so flour is out here. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to make too much of a mess. Not like Amy doesn't care. And I'm not even going to bother cleaning the rest of that out. You don't need to. You really don't. So now we're going to be making what's called our black pepper sauce. So what are we going to do here? We're going to add a little bit more oil. Not that we really need to. But just a little bit more. It's not going to kill anybody. And more butter, which is always a good thing. Now it's always better if you're freezing your butter that you leave it sit out for a little bit on a fresh, warm counter for a little bit before you start cooking with it. Because believe me, it does take a little bit of time to start to work, right? So, and of course, the oil helps keep it from burning, right? As we don't want this to start burning ourselves, and because taste of burnt butter sucks. It really does. It's not good. And so we're gonna let that go for a little second here. Let's set that there for now. I've lost so much weight, guys, that's not even funny. Then I'm going to put our seasoned vegetable mix in here. Alright, so I'm going to turn the heat down here because it's probably up a little higher than I need it. Now I'm going to put in onions. I got 2 big onions in here. And then a couple cloves of chopped up garlic. You can do minced if you want, but those will do just fine. So we're going to let this cook down for a little while. We don't need to caramelize it, but you do want to have it cooked down quite a bit. It's very, very important. So we've already got our steak and all its spice. So I mean, you don't need a whole lot more on here, but I'm going to put a little bit of smoked paprika in here. Then I'm going to take a cup of flour and I'm going to dump that in. What this is going to do, it's going to help thicken our sauce, because you know what, we really don't need to have a really thin sauce. We want to have it thicken out a little bit. So what we want to do here is, before we go too crazy with everything else, is we want to mix this in really good, because I promise you, having a nice little chunk of this in your mouth is not going to taste good. It's going to be gross. So, take your time and stir that in really good. Okay, how am I going to do this? And you have to be really careful, because this will start to burn the bottom of the pan, and your wife's going to get really cranky when she has to clean that. My wife don't care. See how that's nice and very clean in there. So now we're going to come over here, and I'm going to take a spoonful of this. And Amy's complaining she's hungry, so she's going to have to eat some tomato soup in a bit. I don't think she'll complain.
No.
I'm gonna take 2 spoonfuls. That's all I want of that. Don't throw this out. Make some tomato soup with the rest of it. Yes, it won't be a full thing, but that's perfectly fine. Mix that in pretty good. All right, now for almost the start of the show. We're almost done. This is not taking too long now, is it?
No.
It's a shame it takes like an hour to do the rest of it.
The longest part would have been cooking the rice, which we did earlier.
Yeah, with rice, you want to make sure that you're leaving that out there. Now, I'm using a thing of beef broth. You don't have to use broth if you don't want to, but we are. I'm going to stir this around really good, and we're going to then we're going to add the final ingredient. What's the final ingredient, Amy?
Pepper.
That's right. And what Amy's going to do in a short bit, she's going to take some rice and she's going to put it into that frying pan. And that would be the equivalent of what me and her are going to eat in both our meals. Because yes, I'm going to eat 2. So I got a nice new thing of black peppercorn pepper. Its own little grinder, and I want to use a lot.
Because it's called black peppercorn sauce.
Now, if you're not used to this, you might not want to use a whole lot, and if you are and you really like pepper, then use a lot. But you have to be careful with this, because what a lot of people don't really realize, this stuff is pretty strong. This is not your regular pepper that you're used to throwing on your food at home. Grind pepper is a lot stronger. It's got a lot more bite to it. So if you're not used to it, you might want to play with it a little bit just to make sure that you're really comfortable with it. I'll tell you a small little story about grind pepper. My mom's not necessarily the biggest cook in the world. She's really not. She actually pretty bad at most things, but I love my mother to death, don't get me wrong, guys. But there's a few things she makes really, really well, and one of them is corn chowder. And she used to take care of this old lady, and she made her some corn chowder, which, nice gesture and all. The only problem is instead of using regular pepper, she used ground pepper, and poor lady goes and takes a bite of it, and yeah.
She couldn't eat it.
Couldn't eat it. Give this back to your son. He'll eat this. He'll eat anything. Which is true. Yeah, you don't get this gorgeous, guys, without eating everything. Now I'm going to turn the heat back down here, as I don't want it up this far anymore. 3 tablespoons is what the general consensus of what most people use. But I really want to leave a good, really good.
And it's really thick.
Yes, it is, and that's what I wanted. Now, some people say, well, you have to use heavy cream. I call bull honky. You don't. I'm sorry, but you really don't. All right, so move over a little bit, Amy, please.
Yeah.
Amy feels bad because she knows that she has a lot of work to do tonight.
And I'll have a lot of dishes.
No, when rice has been sitting for about 24 hours or all day basically, it tastes a whole lot better than if you just made it fresh. Why? Because it's starchy. So by setting it out, it actually helps it a little bit better. It gives it a little starch. And that's about enough rice for us to eat tonight. Truth be known, I probably might not even eat a whole lot of it. I never do. Alright, now, we don't have tongs. Or at least I don't know where the heck they are. Somebody doesn't put stuff away. So I'm gonna start putting the meat in here. And by the way, guys, don't take me seriously. We poke one of each other quite a bit. Just Amy doesn't do it so much on camera. But Dutchie over here likes making that. And it's funny, we were making Dutch jokes in class today.
Were you really?
We were. And funny enough, I had nothing to do with it. It didn't come from me.
Wow.
I was completely innocent this time.
I'm surprised.
You know what? I'm in a new class for a new job, and you know what? I'm not so inclined to get myself in trouble just to spite other people. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So we're gonna cook this for a few more minutes. Yeah, it is a little bit more different than I expected. I didn't really expect to go this soft, but it is what it is. I think it's still going to be alright, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to finish cooking this a little bit longer, and then we're going to start plating it, and once we're plating it, welcome back. So here we go. Our black pepper steak sauce steak with spring vegetables, peppers, and rice. You can put some sauce on that, whatever you want to do, but this is going to be delicious, amazing, and great. Hope you enjoy. Like I said, please join us on www.pouls-kitchen.club. That's Pouls. Hit the like, share, subscribe button. Don't forget to hit us up on Patreon, and stay tuned for the next episode. Have a great day.